A lot of you may already know this, but tinnitus habituation is essentially the end goal of anyone's tinnitus journey. It's not a place where tinnitus no longer exists, but it's a place where you can peacefully coexist with tinnitus. And that's exactly where I am now after so many years of suffering. What does tinnitus habituation actually feel like? Yes, it's a point of no longer caring about your tinnitus, no longer batting an eyelid or being disrupted by it. But it's a lot more deeper than that. I think my life has changed drastically, but it took a lot of time. And now I'm at the point of habituation, I don't really think about it that much. And that's why I think this question is actually very, very important. Altogether, it took me about a year to fully habituate, after I knew that habituation was a thing anyway. Once I realised, okay, habituation is a point of no longer having a negative response, I was like, okay, I can do this, I can get to that point. Like, I've had it my whole life, surely I can get back to the point of no longer batting an eyelid about it and no longer caring, right? Because there were moments in my life, especially when I was in primary school, where I was so occupied that I didn't really think about it. I didn't think about my tinnitus, I didn't think of it as any different to anyone else. But once I became more aware of my tinnitus was when I realised, okay, this is impacting my life a lot more than it should. Why am I the odd one out? And I started asking myself these questions, and I just felt like life was so unfair. But now I'm habituated, I no longer have these thoughts because I understand that what I'm feeling is normal, and so many people with tinnitus are feeling exactly the same way. One of the things that I always asked myself or always thought was, my tinnitus is worse than anybody else's. No one my age has tinnitus as bad as me. Like, why me? But now I've grew my social media over the past 2 years, and I've started communicating with people who have tinnitus my age. I've realised it's not just me, and my thoughts are absolutely normal, and it's okay to not have answers. But Julie's question is so important, because how can you actually get to the point of habituation without really knowing what it is that you're striving for? Like, yes, there's no negative response, but how does that actually feel? I was just having to think about different things I can compare it to, and there's so many different things I can say. So, for example, when you go out the house, you hear birds tweeting and you hear traffic, and you don't really think too much about that because that's just life, and it's normal, that's just what happens. That's how I feel with tinnitus now. It's just there. It's not disappeared, it's there. And a lot of people say, well, surely you're still going to have bad days of tinnitus, and that's completely true. Completely true. Like, I've had a spike literally yesterday, and I'm still like recovering because I'm a little bit tired still. But does it affect me as much as it used to? Absolutely not. Like, I acknowledge it's there, I can tune into it, but it no longer stops me from my day. Like, I think the biggest thing that stopped me with tinnitus, like doing things normal, was I was so scared. I was just scared that it was going to stop me from doing things, and I just gave into it because I thought, okay, my health is really bad here, like, this is never going to stop. The spike is never going to subside. But let me tell you, if you're having a spike right now, don't worry, just give yourself time and patience, because the stress is only going to make it worse, and it is going to make it last longer.